Happy Star Wars Day. We're having a great time here at Hull. Please come down if you're going to see this today.
Good afternoon everyone at Starcon. So welcome to next Q&A. So if you were here earlier, I'm your host. My name's Chester. I'm a cosplayer and prop maker, and I'm here hosting. So for this Q&A, sorry we're running a little bit late as well. I'm not texting as well, I just have some notes and things on my phone. We've got Tina Simmons and Ron Hone, if I pronounce those correctly as well. Yeah, a couple of questions from myself and then we'll go to the audience. So if you guys have got any ideas or if you don't have any yet and you want to think of some questions you want to ask. So Tina, you were in Return of the Jedi as a rebel technician.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us more about that?
Ron, if you can pass their mic to Tina. Ron, if you can pass their mic to Tina.
Oh, hello. I was in a Star Wars film, Return of the Jedi. I've got some photographs here, that's me there. And I was in the scene with Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Chewbacca, and actually it was quite sober, the scene, but then when Billy D. Williams came on set, he livened everything up. And also, one day, Carrie Fisher bought her fiancé at the time, which was Paul Simon, which was from the Simon and Garfunkel. And actually, I was more interested in speaking to him. I was a fan, so that was in the scene, Return of the Jedi. And that's me here. I've got some other pictures of that. And also worked on a Superman film with Christopher Reeve. In fact, he lived quite near me, so I used to have a chat with him. And actually, one day we were in the local newsagent, but he couldn't get the Daily Planet from there. But he was such a nice man. And worked on early Doctor Who with the first and second Doctors. So it was a long time ago, before your time. And also Little Shop of Horrors, I think, with Rick Moranis and Frank Oz was directing. What else there is? And sci-fi films, The Dark Knight, Troll, and quite a lot of films over the years.
So even though a lot of people here are obviously for sci-fi based and Star Wars things, there's obviously a variety of stuff that you've been in. So if you want
to... only Fours and Horses as well. This is with myself with David Jason. He was such a lovely man. We were down in Margate. This is called The Jolly Man's Outing. And I was in 4 episodes altogether with David Jason and the whole cast. So I've got some other photographs. Thank you. Yes, so, oh, thank you. But Roger Rabbit, that film there, so that was a lot of fun with the puppeteers. It's the same puppeteers that did Little Shop of Horrors. Anyway, there's quite a large selection of films. But Return of the Jedi is a lot of feeling for it, and it's lovely to meet everybody too. Everybody connected with Star Wars. So, and Ron's done such a lot with the special effects, and it was in Empire Strikes Back. We did.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me? I started in this career when I was a youngster, I was about 20 something. Originally, I was fascinated with Jerry Anderson, who did all the puppets and stuff. And I was a pattern maker working very near where they were working. And as I was sort of interested in electronics and stuff, not just pattern making, I sort of wandered across one day and saw what they were doing, and he asked what I used to do for a living. I said, pattern making, I just over the road there. He said, well, we've been looking for an electronic engineer. I said, well, I like to do that as a spare time thing. I'm interested in building radio control model stuff. In them days, we had to make most of it, we didn't buy it, you know. And I was offered a job with Jerry Anderson, that's where I started. And we did robots and things and whatever. And then we worked on a production called UFO. And that's when I was really fascinated with the film industry. Every day there was beautiful girls around me, and it was a different world to a dirty foundry and engineering company, you know, a different world. And then later on, it all collapsed, and I had to go back to pattern making and doing night work, making model cars for the all the film companies, not film companies, engineering companies. And then later on, it picked up again, and I started on Spy Who Loved Me, making film stuff. We were doing the car, the Lotus car, and the water car. That was very interesting. And then I got back into the real film industry again, and we did the Alien film. I was in charge of doing the model Nostromo, which has just recently been sold. That model has just been sold for $750,000. Someone found it in LA under a piece of tarpaulin, and then had it repainted, made up, and sold it for $750,000. I wish I'd have kept it, but anyway, so that's another thing, isn't it? I've never kept anything, but I wish I had, you know. George Lucas thinks when I started with Star Wars, I'd stolen 40 of his R2-D2s. He didn't realise they were all recirculated and one made from another one and all the rest of it. But the last ones were 41, 42, 43, so I wonder where all the rest of them were. They were all damaged or didn't exist ever, you know. But the film industry has always been a very, very nice industry, you know, but sometimes very demanding, you know. I've worked on very, what I say, films that really do things to you. I think one of the first films was Deer Hunter. I know we did a lot of high explosive stuff, which the Americans didn't want to do. Because later, after we started on it, I realised why. Because we were using very sticky Chinese high explosives, and they didn't want to touch it. And then two of us, me and my friend, went over there to do the opening scene, where you see all the helicopters come in, you know, and blow up the village. But that was then, you know, I've just gone on to make things one after the other. But a lot of people ask, have you done a lot of robots? No. I think the last time I did one robot, a game, which is like R2-D2s, was a small film we did in Ireland a couple of years ago. I can't even think of the name of it now. I will do it eventually. But you very rarely do the same thing twice. You know, one day you're doing explosives, next day you're doing modelling. The last film I did last year, with anything mechanical, they couldn't do it with CGI in the time or the expense. It was a film that's coming out, it may be out now, called Wolf-Face. And it's about a witch, and she flies around on a broomstick, and when she comes out of a pub, it's a bit of a comedy, the wind that she leaves behind is like a jet fighter taking off, and they suddenly wanted all the windows to flap open when she took off. And they realised that CGI would have cost a lot of money to do it, so we did it the old-fashioned way, with cables and things. And but the film industry is changing so rapidly now, that making things the old-fashioned way is gone. There was a film a little earlier than that, well, quite some years ago, where they said they're doing no effects on it at all, we're going to be done mechanically, all going to be done CGI. Jude Law played a part of a pilot, I think it's called Spy, yeah. Right. Yeah, he plays a part of a pilot, and his girlfriend, and then he'll fly about all over the place. And there was one particular scene where the plane has to fly upside down. It's like a Spitfire, it flies upside down, and they wanted all her hair to move when the plane was upside down. Well, the CGI people said that's too difficult for us to do. So we had to do it the old-fashioned way. Get the fuselage, put a shaft all the way through it, and rotate it on bearings. And they forgot you can do these things. The CGI people forget how the films were originally made. Anyway, that's how the film industry is now. It's all going to be CGI, I'm afraid. This is the end of what we did. It's all coming to an end. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Anyway.
So, Ron, you were saying you didn't take anything from set. Was there anything you wish you would have taken from set to keep as a... Oh, sorry. I was saying you didn't take anything from set, but was there anything that you wish you'd taken from the set to keep as a memento for yourself, or as you said about to resell on the value it adds later?
Not really. I mean, not really. I don't know where the film industry goes now. I don't know. I suppose it's all CGI. If anyone wants to join the industry, I'm afraid they're going to have to do CGI. I really don't see how you ever will make a film with the old-fashioned way. It wouldn't be possible. Money-wise and the people involved with films nowadays, you know, CGI, there's so many people involved with CGI, there is no point in doing it the old-fashioned way, you know.
And Tina, was there anything from the set that you took yourself, possibly, like a small trinket, or was there something you wish you'd taken?
I do ask if I've got anything mementos, but in those days you didn't think, it's really like stealing, really. You wouldn't think about taking anything from the set because that's there on the set and it's not your property, so you wouldn't think about that.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
You wouldn't be able to anyway because no one really can take anything from the film set. We worked on a film called Slipstream. It was a small film made after the Star Wars films. Some of the actors were the same actors. Mark Hamill was one of the actors in it, and they wanted these aeroplanes which were built in England, I think, but they never really took off, called an Optica. And the idea was that the front of the cockpit would look like act like a helicopter, so you could see more. But most of the pilots killed themselves because they could never see where the horizon was and stalled the damn things in. But anyway, this film wanted these large models made, and we made really great big models. And there was 3 made, and 2 of them were crashed and got damaged in filming, and the 3rd one, somehow or other, survived. I don't know, but it got somehow sold or whatever to a guy who was demonstrating it, and he had a big trailer built to put it into, and he took it all over these places to demonstrate it. Anyway, he died a couple of years ago, and his wife put it on eBay. And of course then they got the film people wanting to know how this thing managed to survive, and it belongs to them, you know. So anyone who takes anything off a film set is into real trouble, really. Yeah. So no one I know has ever collected anything. So if you do see anything, it's fake. It's fake.
And Tina, I was going to say, with the costume you wore, was that custom made for yourself? Was it comfortable, or was it?
I knew the assistant directors, so it was comfortable, and they did actually make it for me, so it was comfortable. But and the first assistant was David Tomlin, who you probably know. David Tomlin, first assistant, yes. So he was considered one of the best assistant directors in his time. Yes, it was most comfortable, and it was enjoyable. I also worked on some of the Bond films as well. Worked on about 5 Bond films. And not long ago, I met up with Pierce Brosnan on another film, a small film, and he was so lovely to everybody that the next day, we were doing night shoots, I bought a photograph, actually got it on my table, of myself with Pierce Brosnan, taken many, many years ago. And he was so lovely that he got a whole crowd of people round to see this picture and got the director. He's a charming man. And I've also worked with Roger Moore, and I also did a stand-in job on one of the Bond films for Britt Eklund. So that was also enjoyable. And also standing and double for Helen Mirren. I did a lot of work with Helen over the years. Read 2. And I was always petrified about gunshots on film sets. In fact, the assistant, when I was working with Helen Mirren, they always told me when the gunshots were going to happen for me to go right at the back of the set or go out. But then one day I had to double for Helen, and I was all in black leather, and so suddenly they gave me a gun, and they taught me how to use the gun. They put something in my ear, and then I got quite used to it. And then I was in black leather. It was a car chase, and I was supposed to be Helen. I've got a wig and everything, and I got quite used to using a gun. But there was proper tuition how to use it. It was fun.
And how would you both say kind of what differences would you find working on a Star Wars film, sci-fi kind of thing, compared to other films you've worked on, kind of directors or kind of feelings on set and things like that?
Dave Tomlin was one of the very professional guys, very professional. I remember walking on the set one day when they were doing a scene with Mark Hamill climbing a rope that had been stuck to the bottom of this walker, this big tank with legs, I don't know what you call it now, a big, and the reason I walked on the set is I made a sucker which he fired that stuck to the bottom of the tank, and then a wire and eventually a rope comes up from this thing, and he climbs the rope. Well, anyone trying to climb a rope is very difficult. So they thought they'd shoot it in reverse, which is good because it looks the same. But unfortunately, this machine had smoke coming out the back of it. So anyone who knows about filming realised that was dead loss anyway. And I walked on the set, I see this sucker had worked all right, it all worked, and I said to Dave Tom, it's a shame about the smoke, didn't it? He said, what are you on about? I said, you're shooting it in reverse. He said, oh my God, I spent 2 days on this and it's all rubbish and it's, it's finished. So occasionally I do get it wrong. Anyway, he was a great guy, Dave Tomlin. When we was finishing Star Wars in Yuma, you get a call sheet every day, and on the call sheet it shows you time lost. And one day it got 1.5 hours lost special effects, robots. So I went to Dave, I said, what's all this about? He said, well, you've all got to wear a bit. You haven't done anything wrong lately. You've got to wear some time. Because everyone else is losing a lot of time and you've got to wear a bit.
And also working with, it was Frank Oz, who was Yoda in the Star Wars film, on Little Shop of Horrors with the puppeteers. And that was such fun. I was dancing on that and doubling for the main actress as well, Ellen Green, with Rick Moranis as myself with him. Got a photograph together. And in fact, we worked on it for many, many months. And then when they finished shooting, they showed it to an audience. And I don't know if you know the story of Little Shop of Horrors, but the plant eats all the main actors in it at the end, during the filming. And when they showed it to an audience, the audience didn't like it, that all the main characters were eaten. So we had to go back to the studio at Pinewood and reshoot the ending with a happy ending when the 2 lead actors, these 2 here, they get married. Instead of dying, being eaten by the plant, we had to reshoot it. So it went on really over 9 months filming, which I enjoyed anyway. It was work for me, so that was a lovely film to work on. It's a lot of fun. And in fact, I kept in touch with the puppeteers because it was Jim Henson puppeteers on that film, and I've worked on other films with the puppeteers.
That's right, thanks very much, guys. I just want to go to the audience, see if there's any questions at all. No questions from you?
We've got our photos as well. You can actually want to have a look at our pictures.
Of course, if anyone wants any photo ops or to kind of sign autographs and things and see kind of all the pictures that team's been showing us here, and of course Ron's as well, kind of thing with a variety of stuff, head over to their tables that are just to the left, or to the right of the audience over here, and check those out.
Thank you.
Well, thanks very much for your time, guys, and yeah, we'll see you guys at the next Q&A and around the con.